Woman is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in opposition to H.R. 1949. It's a harmful bill that demonstrates how Republicans in Congress continue to ignore the rising cost of living and inflation that is crushing American families, and that they're willing to sell out American energy to our adversaries like the Chinese Communist Party. I know it wasn't even 2 weeks ago that President Trump said, I don't want to talk about affordability. Well, we're going to talk about it, and we're going to stand up for people's pocketbooks at home. But this bill is just another example of how Republicans have not brought one single bill to the House floor that would lower energy costs for hardworking families. Electricity bills are skyrocketing, and it's getting harder and harder for people to pay their utility bills. And now Republicans in the Trump administration are making it worse. They passed the big, ugly bill to rip away savings and rebates for cleaner, cheaper energy a few months ago, energy efficiency that keeps bills lower, all to pay for tax breaks for the wealthy and the well-connected. And now they want to ramp up gas exports that will make life even more expensive. It wasn't even a year ago that the Department of Energy released a study that made it clear continuing to approve gas exports would raise costs on U.S. households and businesses. And don't just take it from me. Mr. Speaker, I ask unanimous consent to submit for the record a letter from the Industrial Energy Consumers of America dated November 17th, 2025.
Without objection.
They say this bill is inconsistent with the President's pledge to put America first, prioritizes gas exports over U.S. consumers by removing long-standing consumer protections, and that they urge everyone to oppose this bill and preserve those consumer protections. See, when you export more gas, that raises domestic gas prices, electricity prices, and the cost of manufactured goods. A vote for this bill is a vote to raise utility bills. That's particularly problematic to the neighbors back home I represent in the state of Florida. The state of Florida, the Sunshine State, you would think would be powered by the sun, but we're 75% reliant on gas to generate electricity. So now you're saying, okay, Floridians, you're already being crushed by utility bills, now Republicans are going to make it worse. It's raising costs on all of us in more insidious ways, too, because we do have a climate crisis across the world. So when you're paying more to address climate-fueled disasters like hurricanes, repair your homes, emergency response, property insurance, that is an additional cost generated by fossil fuels like more frack gas. Given that large methane and carbon dioxide emissions are emitted during fracking, pipeline transport, liquefaction, overseas shipping, and combustion, costs go up, and so does pollution and the health risks, especially along the Gulf Coast. Now let's talk about point number 2. If higher cost in electric bills aren't going to convince you to vote against this bill, I hope that America's national security will. If Republicans, the gas industry, and their lobbyists want carte blanche to export gas to anyone, even our foreign adversaries. Now, under current law, the U.S. Department of Energy is responsible for authorizing exports of domestically produced gas to foreign countries. In doing so, DOE makes a determination whether or not that export is consistent with the public interest. Republicans and the industry want to eliminate that important review, that even if the gas goes to the Chinese Communist Party and other foreign adversaries, that's okay. No need to look, no need to review that. That is wrong and dangerous. Aren't Republicans in Congress concerned that shipping American energy overseas to China to power their AI data centers and their manufacturing is a risk, an economic risk, a military risk? You know, I also serve on the House Select Committee on the Strategic Competition with the Chinese Communist Party. On that committee, we've heard over and over about the dangers of Chinese industrial dominance. National resources natural resources for their economic and military advantage. They want to just kind of sweep up all natural resources across the globe. Why would Republicans in Congress be party to that? But through this bill, House Republicans want to make it easier for China to import U.S. energy to power their industrial and military sector. Republicans have also enacted policies that wave a white flag to China on cleaner, cheaper energy, on electric vehicles, on the next generation of energy manufacturing and technology, all evidenced by what they have done in gutting clean energy tax credits in manufacturing and jobs and cost savings in their big, ugly bill. Plus, it's hypocritical for Republicans on one hand to condemn Chinese forced labor.
The gentlewoman want an additional minute?
One
Additional minute, Mr. Speaker.
It's just
Gentlelady is recognized.
It's hypocritical for Republicans to condemn forced labor, subsidies, intellectual property theft on the one hand, and then allow massive amounts of U.S. resources to flow to Chinese factories on the other hand. And these are not hypothetical concerns. In June, the president posted, hopefully China will be purchasing plenty of oil from the U.S. And then after meeting with President Xi in October, the president said a very large-scale transaction may take place concerning the purchase of oil and gas from the great state of Alaska. This is all too much. If these projects come online, U.S. LNG would represent up to a quarter of all of China's contracted LNG under the contracts that have already been entered into. Look, I would urge colleagues now to do the patriotic thing. Really, go ahead, put America first for a change. It's vitally important that energy export decisions benefit the American people, not our foreign adversaries. Exporting more LNG without guardrails does nothing to lower energy bills for hardworking American families. In fact, it will make it worse, and people deserve better. I yield back.